In this session, I'm going to discuss is enable method in Selenium. Let's understand what the use of is enable method in Selenium. Let's try to understand this method by using this scenario. So we are automate this given scenario. We are launching a web browser and open the application under test. And now we verify the page title. And now we want to verify Google search button is enabled or not. Suppose any web element I want to verify whether a corresponding web element is enabled or not. So how we can verify? And then we want to enter the text in Google search box and then verify that Google search button is enabled or not. So let's open the google.com. So here you can open the google.com. Google.com, you can open the google.com. In this google.com, this is a search button. Yes, no Google search button. So first of all, we want to verify whether Google search bar is enabled or not. If Google search bar is enabled, then also we want to verify Google search button is enabled or not. So let's now we try to implement this script. So now go to the Eclipse IDE, open our project, go to the Sassy test Java folder under testing package. Now I'm going to create one tester class. So create a new class. I give the class name like Google search bar and search button, Google search button. So let's here we create one class. Now finish it. Now we define our tester method, public void Google search enable button test method. Let's we define this test method. Just annotate at the rate test annotation. Now we have annotated at the rate test annotation. Now we extend this class, this tester class by base test class. Because in base test class we have base logic, opening the browser, launching, yes, no, and loading the URL in a browser. So let's now we maximize our browser window. First, what I'm going to maximize the browser window. So using WebDriver dot manage dot window, manage dot window dot maximize. Now we maximize the browser window. Now, after maximize this browser window, let's here we try to get the title of the web page. Once web page is loaded, then we want to get the title. So now we fetch the title. Let's now here what we are going to fetch the title of the web page. Now we try to fetch the title of web page. How we can fetch title using WebDriver? In WebDriver, we have one method get title. Get title method what written? Title of the web page. So now it's written string value, so we can store in one variable. This is actual title. Now what we expecting? Expected title. Let's say we declare one variable expected title. String expected title. So what we are expecting? We are expecting suppose Google. We are expecting Google title. Now we verify whether expected title and actual title is same or not. So here we are writing condition expected title dot equals method we are using equals, and now we are passing actual title. If expected title and actual title is same, Then we want to console statement. Simple, we want to console one statement. System.out.println. Now we're writing verification, verification, verification successful. Successful, verification successful. So correct title is displayed on the home web page, on the home web page, on the home web page. And now if condition is false, then we can say else. Now we can write else. And now here we can say verification failed. Verification failed. Now verification failed. Incorrect title is displayed. Incorrect title is displayed. Now next we want to check whether Google search bar button is enabled or not. So what we want to verify? Okay, let's open Google search bar, google.com. Now we can inspect the element, inspect this. We can inspect. Now we want to inspect which this Google search bar. So let's rewrite the X path. So here we write the X path, // test area. Okay, so here we want to inspect which. You can close this page. Now we want to inspect. So here you can check here, you can inspect Google search bar. Now you can check here, it will search for Google search bar. We can inspect Google search bar. This is a test area element. Let's now we select a hub. And now we're writing // test area. And then which element I want to select, whose name attribute. So at the rate name attribute value is equal to Q. So now we are able to find out this Google search bar button. So let's copy this X path and we are trying to find that Google search bar. So here we need to find that element. How we can find? Using WebDriver element, and we can use XPath to locate that element by .xpath. Now here we passing the XPath. This is XPath. Now it returned what returned? It returned web element. It returned that web element. Which web element? Search boxes. So here we store in one variable search box. Now once we get this element, I want to check whether this search box is enabled or not. So how we can verify whether search box is enabled on that web element? We have one method, is enable method. You can check it. Is enable method, what does? Is enable method used to check currently element is enabled or not. If it is enabled, then return true, otherwise return false. So here we are checking by using is enable method. If search box is enabled, then it return true. It return true, otherwise return false. So let's here we call the search box dot is enable method and we verify whether search box is enabled or not. Now here we writing search box is enabled. If search box is enabled, then what return? It return true. So on the search box, we are calling is enable method. Is enable method, whatever return true, I will store that value. Similar. Now search box, yes, no, is disabled. Is disabled. If condition is false, then it return false. So in this way, we can verify whether search box is enabled or not enabled. If search box is enabled, now if search box enable, then what we want to, if search box is enabled, then we want to send some text. because if search box enabled, then only we can send us some text. Okay, if search box is enabled, if condition is true, then we need to send the text. How we can send the text into search box? We can send the text using yes, no, WebDriver, yes, no, web element. We find okay, search box dot send a text method. Which method? Send a keys. Sorry, here we have method send keys. Here we need to send the keys. If search box is enabled, then we want to send a key like Selenium. I want to search which keyword? Selenium keyword. So here we are checking whether search box is enabled or not. Okay, if search box enabled, then we are sending this text. And after sending this text, now we want to check whether this Google search button is enabled or not. So we need to verify whether Google search button is enabled or not. Let's now we inspect that element, Google search element. Now we have inspect this element, and now you can check a Google search button. So we need to write here we need to write XPath to locate that element. So here we can locate that which element, input, and now using @class attribute, we can use class attribute. I need to locate that element. You can check here whose class attribute value is something. So now you can check here how many element is located. It located two elements. There are two elements is available, yes, no, which having class attribute value something. But I need to allocate which element? I need to allocate only this Google search element. So how we can locate? You can check here. Let's you can check here. I'm writing this XPath. Under div element, which div element you can check here. Now we understand. Okay, 1 minute. Just again copy and paste. Okay, copy XPath. Go to the selector hub. You can copy a selective XPath and you can paste here directly. You can check here. Here, what you can do, you can check here. Oh, sorry. Copy XPath once again. Copy relative XPath. So this is the XPath. Yes, no, you can check here to locate which element Google search button. I want to locate which Google button. So first of all, I will find out which element, div element, whose class attribute is something. Under that class, this element, we have one element, input element, whose name attribute value something. Whose name attribute value something. I want to locate that element. So let's now we locate that element using WebDriver dot find element. We need to call find element method. And now here we need to use XPath selector by dot XPath selector, and we can pass that XPath. Now what it written? Now it written web element. So let's now we store in one variable web element. Now we can store into one variable. So I give the variable name like search button. So this is a search button. Now we can store in one variable. After that, what we need to do? After that, we need to verify whether search button is enabled or not. So if search button is enabled, search button dot, you can check that search button dot is enabled. Yes, no, is enabled. If search button is enabled, yes, no, then what we want? Then I want to display one message like search button is enabled. So let's now we write down here search box, not boss. Let's we write down here search box, search button. Here we can write search button is enabled. Search button is enabled. Let's here search button search button dot is enabled. Else, now search button, and here we get that search button is disabled. Is disabled. If search button is enabled, then what action we want to? We want to click. We want to perform click action. We want to perform click action. So let's now we perform click action if search button is enabled. If search button is enabled, so the search button dot we can call click action, and we can perform click action. So here we write this script. Let's now we try to run and check. Let's run this script. Now we run this script. Now you can check here. Now your search button is working. You can check it. Now check the output in the console. Here you can check a verification section. Correct title is displayed on the home page. Search button is enabled. Search box is also enabled. Search button is also enabled. Now your test case is pass. So here we have seen if you want to check, if you want to verify any web element is enabled or not enabled, we can verify using is enabled method. Similar, you can use one method is displayed method. Let's we create one more class just under this package. Okay, give the like search button display test. So just copy and now run this. I have created new class display tester. Let's give the name Google search button display method. Test method. Okay, so here now I need to use one more method is displayed method. Let's now try to understand. So once we find out a Google search button, now we want to verify whether Google search box is displayed or not displayed. Okay, let's here. Now what we want to, we want to verify whether Google search bar. Okay, let's now we remove this, all this thing. We're not expecting any title. We can remove this one. So now what we need to do, we need to verify whether Google search box is displayed on the web page or not. Suppose any web element, yes, no, that is, we want to check any web element that is displayed in the web page or not. So here we can use search box dot is enabled in place of is enabled. You can check here we have one method is displayed. So this used to check whether Google search box is displayed or not. So this method also return true. Here we want to check that Google search box Google search box is displayed or not. If Google search box is displayed, return true, otherwise return false. So search box dot is displayed method. Now here we give the message search box is displayed. If it displayed, return true, otherwise return false. Search box is not displayed. Yes, no, displayed. Yeah, it's not visual. We can say it's not visual. Search box is visible. Yes, no, whether search box is visible or not. If you want to check, you can check using is displayed method. Similar here, search button also, yes, no, I want to check whether search button is displayed or not. So here you can use one more method. You can check here you can use one more method in place of is enable. Using is enable, we can check, verify whether any particular web element is enabled or not, and using is displayed method, we can verify whether particular element is visible or not. If it is visible, then we return true. So we can say is visible, is visible, is visible. A search button is not, visible is not visible. So in this way, we can check whether such particular web element is visible or not visible on a web page. Let's now we can run this test case. So you can annotate this method using which annotation? Let's add the rate test annotation. What happened? Let's save it. Google search button. You can copy, display it. This is a base tester. Okay. So in this way, what we can do, we can use whether particular web element is displayed or not. Now we want to check if we want to select any element, suppose. So let's here we want to check whether particular element is visible or not visible, yeah, whether particular element is enabled or not. Using is displayed method, we can verify whether particular element is visible on a web page or not, and using is displayed method using is enable method, we can verify whether particular element is enabled or not enabled on a web page. So I hope it's clear what is a is displayed method and is enable method. Thank you.